Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace dropping in on you. Hope everybody is having an unbelievable start to your day. I decided that I was going to drop in on this live. It's Friday, April 22nd, 2022. And we are 4 months into a fundraiser that was initially planned to extend for 1 week. But yet here we are. I get it. And so I wanted to talk to you, because I have myself put in a great deal of work into not only understanding the enigmatic issues that plague the Black community, but in coming up with viable, actionable, and practical solutions that, when implemented, produce results. That's been my goal for 30 years. That's the work I've done. That's what I've put in. I have proudly served and helped numerous people achieve different things on an individual and collective levels in multiple communities across the United States. And for that, I'm thankful for the opportunity to do so. I have written and published 24 books, hundreds of scholarly articles, thousands of prose articles, lectured and traveled, done the whole nine. And yet the most passionate part of my work is the work I do directly with my people, face to face, one-on-one, and sometimes group settings, sometimes families, whatever. That's what I'm passionate about. That's what I love doing. I love to see the look on the face of someone when life changes for them. That's why I do what I do at the Visionetics Institute on a grand scale. And my business isn't just for my people, but that's why I have the Odyssey Project, so that I can have an entity where my focus is solely placed on helping my people. And so when I created the Black Men Lead, right, designed and developed the Black Men Lead Rite of Passage Initiative initially, before it evolved into also being wraparound services and resources for Black men, pretty much of all ages, but definitely 30 years and younger. When I first did it, it was simply on the heels of the work that I put in to understand the level of violence in our communities, the level of what seemed to be a lack of purpose, the mass incarceration rates, and how my people were targeted, are the victims of mass incarceration at an astronomical level and beyond what anyone else is. You have white men who make up the majority male population in this country, where Black men make up approximately 6 to 7% max of and I'm being generous, of the population, and yet we make up almost 40% of the prison population. That's not an accident. It's not an anomaly. It's not a phenomenon. It's a systemic problem, and we have to understand how we are participating in it. Yes, it's coming from somewhere, the benefiting. I was reading a report on the private prison industrial complex and the benefit that people who are investing in prisons are getting back on their returns for their investments, and these government contracts, and how all of these things work together. And it's crazy, but we also have to look at how we are participating. How are we making ourselves more vulnerable? I've told you this before. I've said it, I don't know how many times. One of my favorite quotes is actually from an African proverb that says, if there's no enemy on the inside, the enemy on the outside can do us no harm. That's true on a personal level. That's true on a family level. That's true on a community level. That's true on a race level. When there's no enemy on the inside, people can't get inside of your homes and stir up stuff in your family. When there's no enemy on the inside of the marriage, when both people are connected and loving on each other and caring about each other and seeing the value and the benefit of the marriage, nobody can get in and wreck that marriage. The same thing with our community and us as a race, as a collective. There's far too much going on within the collective that makes us vulnerable to outside machinations and mechanisms that are designed to destroy us. We can talk for hours on end about mass incarceration, gentrification, miseducation, all things that I have written on extensively, lectured on extensively, been involved in creating solutions for years. But if we don't deal with what's going on the inside, why are we having such an issue with young black males? Why is it that there seems to be no value for human life? Why are our babies, I mean, little children under the age of 10 dying at an unbelievable rate? Why has the suicide rate for young black males from 15 to 24 increased almost 50% over the last 6 years? We need to ask ourselves all of these questions, and we must ponder the possibilities. We cannot sit up and point fingers. Fingers don't change things. I learned a long time ago I could point fingers at people who did things to me as a child. I could point fingers to at the father that never ever made himself visible to me. The father it took me seeing in his casket to ever see. I could easily point at the finger, but it wouldn't have changed anything for me. You've got to learn that you have to take action. That's on an individual level, like it was for me, and that's what I do with my clients, but it's also on a collective level as a race. We can sit up and talk about all the things they're doing. We can talk about redlining. We can talk about urban renewal. We can talk about other forms of serial forced displacement. We can talk about sharecropping. We can talk about what? Mass incarceration. We could talk about a bunch of different things that are in place. Miseducation. We can go back from step by step by step and look at the re-injury from trauma, one thing after another. We could talk about all of that, and we need to heal from that. We need to address that. But at the same time, we're going to look at ourselves and say the behavior that we are exhibiting is not conducive to empowerment. The behavior we are exhibiting is not conducive to elevation on a collective level. The behavior we are exhibiting is not going to produce the liberation that we talk about is so important to us. We can talk till we're blue in the face. We can have picket signs. We can do hashtags. We can do all of that stuff. But until we come to the conclusion that we're going to have to address some issues, and that's what Black Men Lead is about. It's about understanding that the number one cause of violence among African American adolescents is the feeling of being disrespected. The problem is there's no socialization within the total construct that's universal that leads into manhood and the development and understanding of manhood. So what we have is a situation in which young boys are trying to find themselves without enough men modeling manhood to set the example. Because we have no socialization programs in place, there's no development of the idea of who a black man is, what a black man is, what should be expected of a black man, how to function and move as a black man. Another thing that socialization does is it provides a sense of identity, purpose, and belonging to the collective, to the community, to the social group in which you're being socialized into. Why is that important? Because it establishes a sense of importance. And when there's self-importance, there's also an acknowledgement of the importance of others. If I can't see anything in myself, if I don't see anything worth loving in myself, then I can't see anything worth saving in anyone else. It makes it real easy to take a life when I don't even see the value in my own. We have a lot of work to do. We can't sit around and continue complaining. We are rapidly becoming irrelevant in this nation. We've already been replaced as the largest minority group. The Hispanic community has taken that, and they are working in a unified manner to build and to move and to do things differently than we've done, and they are seeing the benefits of it. So what are we going to do? Are we going to sit around and we're going to leave the next 3 or 4 generations with nothing to fight with, no sense of direction, no sense of understanding, no sense of identity, or are we going to put in the work? I have said this before, that we need a universal rite of passage. Why? We need to be able to know no matter where we go in this country that black men are being taught, black males are being taught to be men, and what those principles of manhood are. We should know that at the top of the list, we teach our boys that absolutely at no time does a black man cause harm, pain, or discomfort to a black woman. At no time does a black man cause harm to children. The black man is to be a protector. even before he's a provider. He needs to be a provider also, but he needs to be a protector of everything that he is given responsibility of. We cannot call ourselves leaders if we are not protecting. We cannot call ourselves leader if we haven't provided a suite of provision. And when I say a suite, I mean more than just in money. Everything is about the commodification, but a black man needs to provide a spiritual covering, emotional covering, psychological covering. A black man needs to provide leadership, guidance, advice, support, and so much more to his wife and to his children and to the community. He has to be a source of hope. He has to be a source of power. He has to be a source of security and safety. And until we can get that instilled into these young boys at an age early enough that it's inculcated into the deepest recesses of their psyche, we're going to have situations like we're having where it's becoming more and more apparent that it's a free-for-all and innocent children are dying, and then these young males are killing each other off in the process as well. That's unacceptable. Yes, there are going to be those who are incorrigible, those who are recalcitrant, those who are unreachable, and they need to be dealt with accordingly. But what about the ones that can be reached? What about the ones that are at the pivot? What about the ones who can now be trained from the age of 4 and developed into it? If you go to any group, there's a rite of passage, except in the black community. The Jews have the bar mitzvah. That young boy is going to learn from an early age what it means to be a Jewish man, how a Jewish man behaves, how he acts, how he moves in the public, how he deals with other Jews, how he deals with people who aren't Jews, how he handles his business with his family. He's going to be held accountable for it. He's going to know what it means to step out there and do it. And he's going to, because he is required to, step out and raise the level. There's much to be said about proper socialization. My research tells me, and I have seen it with my own eyes, that when you properly socialize a young black male, less likely to commit violence, less likely to become criminal-minded, less likely to become incarcerated, less likely to be abusive towards their mate. This is the truth. We talk about all the ugly things we see out there, and we have the answers, but we're not doing anything about it. You know, I could have did a whole bunch of big production and put all the other stuff in it, but I just wanted to come in. I wanted to talk to you. So I picked up my phone and I just started talking. Look, we've been asking for support for 4 months. We're still asking for support. My challenge is to give, if you believe, now here's the thing, if you believe in the work we're doing, if you follow me for the time, this, you know, I'm not new to the game. I'm not somebody that just popped up. I've been doing this since YouTube was up. I've been doing it on social media. And then I was doing it long before social media, and I'm still doing it. Like I said, I've got 24 published books, countless scholarly and academic articles that are highly referenced, highly cited, that's out there. Then I've got, I don't know how many prose articles that are on blogs that are part of quotes and interviews that I've done. I've got thousands upon thousands of videos that I put out that I make accessible and free so that people can have access to the work. I've been doing this for a long time. What I'm doing now is I'm saying we were looking to raise $10,000 in December. It is April and we haven't reached 1,000. But guess what? Every day, new young black males are being brought to me, primarily by black moms, and they need help. They need help with emotional issues. They need help with depression. They need help with other mental elements and components of their life. They also need help with socialization and understanding and fitting in and being powerful and knowing who they are. It's so much going on. I cannot even begin to tell you the gravity of what comes to me. I'm just one person, and I know I can't be the only one because there are other people I'm watching and they're dealing with the same thing. We are going to have to do better. We're going to have to take ownership of our responsibility to build the right type of community. We need to be building strong men. I'm going to say this and I'm done. Frederick Douglass says, it is so much easier to build strong children than it is to heal broken men. We need to really pay attention to that. We need to really take that to heart. So again, look in the description box, click the link, and support the work we're doing. It should not take as long as it has to get to where we're at, but it has. And I've still been going strong, and I'll continue to go strong, but I'm challenging, and I'm going to continue to challenge everybody to be a part of the answer, to be a part of the solution. It's time to stop typing, "Oh my God," shaking my head, "That's crazy, that's stupid, that's ridiculous, that's a shame." None of that changes anything. What changes it is putting active programs that are effective in place to deal with it. We can't wait on the government. We can't wait on organizations that don't have our best interests at heart. We should have learned that by now. It's going to be what we do for ourselves that will make the difference. Now, the question is, are we just going to sit up and continue to talk and continue to fade, or are we going to make our stand? And it's that simple. Now, my thing is, I'm at that point where I got maybe 3-4 more decades max, and I'm out of the game, at least in the form and the state that I'm in now. My problem is I'm leaving behind me my kids, my grandkids, my great-grandkids, and theirs. I don't want to leave them the crap that I came up in, or worse. I want to leave them something that says I was here and I thought of them before I ever met them, and I put in the work to make a difference for them, because that's what we're supposed to do. My challenge is, who else is going to step up, and let's make this happen. We need to do this on a national level, and we need to do it now. On that note, look, I'm out of here. Thank you guys for dropping in. Peace.